W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, November 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,281 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,411. Antiwar.com reports officials say that hundreds of additional U.S. troops are to be deployed to Afghanistan early next year, and then, when that deployment is finished, the U.S. may have roughly 16,000 troops in the nation, a substantial escalation since President Trump announced a buildup in August. Exact figures are tough to come by, of course. It is believed that the U.S. has sent about 3,800 troops to Afghanistan since the announced buildup, but Trump's interest in keeping troop levels secret has meant specifics are not released to the media, something that has always been the case in the war's first 15 years. Even then, though, the official figures were often lies, as President Trump announced the escalation at a time when the Pentagon said there were about 8,448 troops in Afghanistan, but officials later admitted that they thought the real figure was closer to 11 or 12,000. At this point, it's not wholly certain even the Pentagon keeps track of exact figures. The new hundreds more troops are being described by officials as trainers, though it's not clear that's what they're actually doing, as officially almost all U.S. troops deployed overseas are referred to as training forces on advisory missions.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports the U.S. Senate's Commerce Committee sought answers from Equifax and Yahoo executives on Wednesday over the company's massive data breaches earlier this year. Those interviewed by the committee included interim Equifax CEO Paulino de Rogo Barros Jr., former Equifax chief Richard Smith, and former Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer. They answered questions about the Equifax breach in September and Yahoo's in March. Other witnesses included Verizon Chief Privacy Officer Karen Zachariah and Entrust Data Card President Todd Wilkinson. Equifax revealed that hackers had gained access to sensitive information of 143 million U.S. consumers. 6 months earlier, Yahoo was targeted for the second time in 4 years in an attack that compromised more than 3 billion email accounts. Barros apologized, and Meyer blamed Russian influence for the cyber attacks against Yahoo. Lawmakers said rigorous security rules are needed to counter the hacks and that companies need extreme limits to protect customer privacy. Barros mentioned that Equifax is working on an application that would let consumers lock and unlock personal credit data. He said the app is in development and may be released in January.
For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Democrats claimed historic gains in Virginia State House and booted Republicans from state and local office across the United States on Tuesday in the party's first big wave of victory since Republican Donald Trump won the White House a year ago. From coast to coast, Democratic victories showed grassroots resistance to Trump, rallying the party's base, while independent and conservative voters appeared frustrated with the unpopular Republican leadership in Washington. Democrats won this year's race for governor in both Virginia and New Jersey, but successes in legislative and local races nationwide may have revealed more about where the party stands a year into Trump's administration. With several races still officially too close to call, Democrats were close to flipping or splitting control of the Virginia House of Delegates, erasing a 2-1 Republican majority. In New Jersey, a Democratic presidential stronghold, voters replaced a 2-term Republican governor with a Democrat and increased the party's majorities in the state legislature. Democrats notched additional wins in a Washington state special election Senate race, and in Republican-controlled Georgia, Democrats picked up 3 seats in special state legislative elections. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Regarded by many as one of the fastest rising online personalities today, social media rock star Ryan Wasserman has 250,000 loyal Twitter followers and earns $28,000 a year at his job as an administrative assistant. The Onion spoke to the online luminary at KPL Insurance, where he works from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and makes roughly $13 an hour.
I'm just trying to bring my unique perspective to everybody. That's what my followers expect, and I like to think I deliver.
Wasserman, who currently has $900 in his checking account, regularly engages in conversations with high-profile celebrities and takes the bus to work from the two-bedroom apartment he shares with a 23-year-old he met on Craigslist.
Actually, I just started a Tumblr because sometimes 140 characters just doesn't cut it. I just had a Google Glass tweet that Questlove retweeted again. KPL, this is Ryan. Yeah, I'm sorry, I totally forgot.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free number where you can join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And Justin Amash is slowly becoming my favorite person in Washington, D.C. Now, that's not really saying a lot because, it's not really hard to be, the least bad person in the district of criminals.
Well, I mean, a lot of people of a libertarian bent have liked Justin for a long time. He does a lot of cool things. I mean, one of the things that I always like is he tweets and he publishes on social media every one of his votes.
Yes.
He's missed, I think, one.
And he apologized for that. And yeah, he was like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I couldn't make it. Something happened. I cried. But there was a tweet that he sent out yesterday, and I will read it to you. The hashtag Liberty Act passed committee 27-8. It allows the government to search our private data without a warrant in violation of the hashtag Fourth Amendment. It's another bill like the hashtag Freedom Act that furthers violations of our rights under the guise of protecting our rights.
This one's called the Liberty Act?
The Liberty Act.
Of
yes,
course.
We talked about this.
This continues my theory, and I've brought it up here many a time, is that if you want to know what a bill is about, just try to figure out what the opposite of its name is.
Right. And somebody actually made a meme, and it's absolutely hilarious, where I have said repeatedly, if Congress passed the Everybody Gets a Puppy Act, it would have nothing to do with everybody getting puppies.
No, that would be kill all the puppies.
What if it did, though?
Free puppies?
Yeah. What if we all got free puppies?
Well, I oppose the canine industrial complex.
Oh, jeez. We could have got, what was...
free ponies.
Free ponies. I mean, we had Vermin Supreme. Vermin Supreme. Right. Dental health and
speaking of toothbrushes, did you see the thing making fun of, and we'll get back to talking about the Freedom Act, or the Liberty Act in this case, but USA Today had that weird flub, and Chris, I think you actually posted in the show prep group of,
right.
USA Today says that there's some sort of chainsaw bayonet something for AR-15s.
Yeah.
But there have been a lot of things making fun of that.
Oh, yeah.
Of, here's other attachments you didn't know about, and one of them was a giant toothbrush.
I haven't seen the toothbrush.
Yeah.
I did see the Velociraptor.
Vermin Supreme's AR.
Yeah, the Velociraptor. There was the bunny. I don't know if it was the killer bunny from Monty Python.
It had a toothbrush on it, and it was called what?
I'll share it in the show prep.
Velociraptor.
Nice.
No,
we're getting
So now let's get back into the Liberty Act thing, where Reason has a good write-up about the looming showdown over, quote, reform of federal surveillance laws. A House Judiciary Committee advanced a bill that would provide Americans modest protections. This the wording from Reason, not what the bill actually does. They say it would provide modest protections from unwarranted surveillance, but falls far short of what civil liberties and privacy groups and several legislators are demanding. It's no surprise the USA Liberty Act passed out of committee 27-8, having been hammered out by committee members and lawyers, but the committee resisted amendments that would make the privacy protections for Americans stronger. The USA Liberty Act is meant to address the pending sunset of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Section 702 is one of the several federal authorities for foreign surveillance by the National Security Agency and FBI to keep tabs on potential spies and terrorists. But Section 702 has been abused, allowing for backdoor searches of communications of American citizens. These communications are collected incidentally during the surveillance of foreign targets and are used by federal agencies in the investigation of domestic crimes. All of it happens without a warrant, with the oversight of the secretive FISA court. Now, that secretive FISA court, they're supposed to approve all of these things, right, Chris?
You bet. No, they're not supposed to just approve them. They're supposed to consider them. They're supposed to consider them and pass a judgment or a ruling on each one. But you said it exactly the way it has worked in real life, which is they are approving them. They pretty much approve.
They've got a rubber stamp that they've probably replaced a few times over the last 45 years because of how frequently they just go ahead and stamp approved on things. The denied stamp, it's still sort of almost in mint condition.
Pristine. You had thrown out a statistic that somebody had done some study and that they had denied these requests something like 6 times. I'm probably way off.
It was not very many times at all. Like the number was incredibly small, and it breaks down to, like one denial. And I think all of the denials that have happened have been in like the last 15 years. In the first 40 years the court existed, there were 0 denials. And in like the last 15 years, I think it's somewhere between 7 and 12.
Not very many.
Incredibly small number. Did you find something there on denials?
This is, I hate to say this. It's from Wikipedia. It's the first thing that came up. During the next 8 years, from 2014 to 2012, there were over 15,000 additional warrants granted and another 7 being rejected. Over the entire 33-year period, the FISA court granted 33,942 warrants with only 12 denials, a rejection rate of 0.03% of the total requests.
Yeah, so, that's well within the statistical margin of error of, oops, we grabbed the wrong stamp.
Yeah. The long and the short of it is this, when they say a FISA court, it's a misnomer. It makes no sense because a court would mean that there are 2 sides arguing their case. In this case, there is not. There's the federal government arguing to a court who I guess allegedly would have the Constitution on the other side, but they never find in favor of the Constitution. They always find in favor of the intelligence agencies.
That they mistakenly rejected 12 requests over the last 30 some odd years, and all of those have been within the last decade, I think it said.
Yeah. We'll get a little bit more data on that so we can provide some more accurate numbers.
There's more from Reason. Hear your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go to the phones. We've got Joe calling in from Tennessee. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Heather, and Chris. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Good evening, Darryl, Heather, and Chris. Oddly enough, I seem to always get the updates on Thursday night. So I don't know if the universe just wants your all show to get the information or what. But
it should.
I actually had a little bit of good news tonight as related to former co-host Christopher Cantwell.
Oh, let's hear this.
As you all may be aware, and some of your listeners probably are aware, he had his preliminary hearing today.
Yep.
And as it turns out, so far, 2 out of 3 of his charges were completely dismissed. They are still holding him pending a plea deal or trial on use of a caustic agent. Two of the prosecutor's witness admitted to lying to the magistrate today, and the prosecutor's case basically completely fell apart. The judge stated that he couldn't just toss it all, the use of caustic agent charge out on the preliminary hearing and just carry things over. So if I was a betting man, I'd say Mr. Cantwell is going to be offered a plea deal for a misdemeanor with time served here.
Oh, they always offer plea deals.
Be back home.
They always offer plea deals.
Is he going to take it?
Well, that's the real question. Do you have any idea when the next court date is?
I've been following the information as close as I can on Twitter. Right now, there's no information on the next court date. But, I mean, I'm a huge never take a plea deal guy myself.
Yep. Joe,
But
thank you for the call. Hold on. I think you got more to say. Hold on. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Called it elephant skin. It was rough, wrinkly, like a Brillo pad.
His hair was falling out in clumps.
Petey stopped eating and all his hair fell out.
Our golden retriever, Sundance, he scratched incessantly. There was hair all over.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Within 2 weeks, the shedding slowed down to almost none. The scratching went away after a few days, and Sundance's coat was starting to get shiny and glossy.
It's a 180 turnaround. His skin has cleared up. He is not in pain.
If your dog has shedding, dry skin, excessive scratching,
do the Dinovite.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. We'll get back to the phones here in just a second, but I want to make sure that I tell you about a deal. And it's something that if you want to keep an eye on your front door while you're not home, you can do that with the Blink security system. You get this thing delivered to your door, and there's a process that you can go through. Apparently, it's fairly easy, even if you're not technically inclined, where you download an app onto your smartphone, and then it allows you to either watch the camera at your convenience, or you can get a notification whenever something goes in front of the camera. And here's the deal. Get 3 Blink security cameras for what the other guys charge for 1. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, as in Free Talk Live. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Back to the phones. We've got Joe calling in from Tennessee. Was giving an update on a former co-host of this show who has turned into an alt-right spokesman of sorts. Was arrested, what was it, a couple months ago down in Charlottesville, Virginia. Joe, you're back on Free Talk Live. Continue with your thoughts.
Well, thank you for holding me over, Darryl. You mentioned that the state always is going to offer a plea deal in most cases. And while I agree with you all generally that never taking a plea deal is, theoretically the best option at this stage of the game, in Cantwell's situation, he would be silly if one is offered to not take it. I kind of liken it to Derek's situation. He was facing many, many years in jail over
right. You're referring to Derek J. He didn't take
Derek
the
J.
first offer. He did not take their first offer. He wound up taking the offer that, if I'm remembering correctly, he took the offer that they made just before the trial was to begin. So you almost never want to take the first offer because their offers generally wind up getting better.
And while Cantwell's attorney may look like he's LARPing from the late 1800s, hopefully he's advising him some information like that. But at the end of the day, Cantwell has been thoroughly demonized in that area. It would take the movement of the trial for him to get anything close to a fair jury trial. And if we can get this guy out with a misdemeanor plea deal, he'll maintain his gun rights, and he can just stay the heck out of Virginia.
Well,
once again, thanks for holding me over.
Yeah, no problem. Cantwell's, he's going to have a hard time finding a jury in the United States. The guy went viral.
Yeah.
He is from everybody.
The face.
He will be the crying Nazi.
Yes.
And if you have the word Nazi associated with you, then that's a tough one to shed.
Right.
So I don't know, if there really is a jurisdiction in the U.S. that he could honestly get a
Probably
fair trial.
not, but since these aren't federal charges, they can't leave the Commonwealth of Virginia.
The Commonwealth
of
Virginia.
Joe, thank you
Thanks.
for the call. Let's go to Dave Ridley calling in from somewhere in New Hampshire, I believe. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I wanted to update you with regard to one of my videos from Keene.
Give some kind of detail about the video, because you've made a bunch of videos over the years.
You know what? I wrote down what it was called. And now I've forgotten. Now I can't find where I wrote it down. But anyway, there is a video that I shot in 2015 that is now up for censorship.
What's the problem?
There was a privacy complaint, which I get, from YouTube from time to time, that YouTube doesn't file them, but they accept them from, viewers. And someone apparently saw this video that I shot of a school board meeting in 2015 at Keene High School.
School board meeting, which is something that is open to the public and on public property.
Usually draws about how many people? 50, 100?
The number of people that were within 50 yards of the meeting room, I guess, would be the maximum number of people I think that were in the meeting itself would have probably been about 25 to 30.
Wow. Okay.
During the night. But it was an interesting day because it wasn't. They must have had 5 hours of meetings, different, subcommittees and so forth. And many of the meetings were closed, and it's all really boring and designed to keep you away because it's boring. But if you just stand outside and ask nasty questions, it gets interesting. And censorship makes it even more interesting than that. Now, my questions weren't all that nasty. What I was asking about was mostly, I think, in this video was about what the status of students' First Amendment rights was in the school, like to what extent they're allowed to video record if they see something crazy happening.
Right.
So what's the timeline for YouTube to take this thing down? I also find it very strange that somebody can claim a privacy concern about something that was in public.
Right. I mean, I suspect that YouTube won't do anything about it. They've actually been really good over the last 3 years, as I've observed them handling these privacy complaints on my vids. They haven't taken one down in a long time.
Excellent.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dave?
No, just wanted to provide a little Barbra Streisand effect to that. Whoever's trying to quell the information, now it's gone out more widely. I think you can probably find the video.
Right on.
Yeah. If you just look for the Keene School District or Keene, high school, if you Google that.
Or go to ridleyreport.com that takes people to your YouTube channel. Then they can click videos and then search from your videos specifically instead of just finding all kinds of videos about the Keene schools. Dave, thank you as always for the update, and definitely give us a call. Let us know what winds up happening with that. And again, hopefully YouTube winds up not taking down something that was filmed in public at a public event that was open to the public because of a privacy concern.
Oh my. He didn't ask me.
Now,
he says,
speaking of privacy concerns, let's go back to the U.S. Congress, where they're discussing some kind of bill that's supposed to maybe kind of limit the use by the NSA of Section 702. Section 702 being the section of, what is that, the USA Patriot Act that allows them to do some kind of surveillance on people that aren't U.S. citizens, even though they admit, well, some communications of Americans are incidentally collected.
Whoops.
Oops, we didn't mean to.
My bad.
Really, pinky promise.
My bad.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. What's your thoughts on the USA Liberty Act?
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
If you or someone you care about loves outdoor adventure, then check out slingbow.com for some unique holiday gift ideas. That's slingbow.com, where we have some innovative new products for the archer, hunter, or bow fishing enthusiast in your family. Now through January, use the promo code HOLIDAY to get free shipping in the U.S. or Canada. And from all of us at Slingbow Industries, have a safe, joyous, and peaceful holiday season.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you can call into the show. But maybe you want to watch the show. You can do that on the YouTube by going to youtube.freetalklive.com. And you can interact with other listeners and watchers of the show with YouTube's built-in chat room thing. Again, youtube.freetalklive.com. It's Darryl, Heather, and Chris, and we're talking about the absolutely horribly misnamed USA Liberty Act. Tweet from Representative Justin Amash from Michigan yesterday. The hashtag Liberty Act passed committee 27-8. It allows the government to search our private data without a warrant in violation of the hashtag Fourth Amendment. It's another bill like the hashtag Freedom Act that furthers violations of our rights under the guise of protecting our rights. Now, Reason.com has a little bit more info here where they say that, again, the USA Liberty Act is meant to address the pending sunset of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act amendments. Section 702 is one of the several federal authorities for foreign surveillance by the NSA and FBI to keep tabs on potential spies and terrorists. But Section 702 has been abused, allowing for backdoor searches of communications by American citizens. These communications are collected incidentally during the surveillance of foreign targets and used by federal agencies in the investigation of domestic crimes. Now, this, and there's, again, more to this, needs to be pointed out that the law here, Section 702, is meant for foreign surveillance, but it's being used for domestic surveillance and investigation of domestic crimes. Now, Chris, there's probably some beer drinkers in the audience.
Probably.
And
I'd have to be drinking to listen to this.
That they're aware of the term domestic, which would mean stuff like
a domestic
Budweiser, PBR.
Oh, you're just going right down the line.
Miller,
of my favorite beers.
Busch. None of those can really be considered beer in accordance with people that actually have taste, but, you know, they have the word beer on the can.
Not ours to judge, Darryl. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Foreign would be stuff
an
like
import, a Heineken.
An import, Heineken.
A Bass.
Foster's.
A Guinness.
Foster's, Australian for beer. Red Stripe.
Jamaica. Name another one.
Castile.
I don't know where that one's from.
It's made by the monks in Europe.
Oh, there we go. Or Santa Claus. Very rare beers. Point taken.
Yeah,
we're talking about beers that are either exist and are made in foreign countries versus domestic, which means in the good old US of A.
Right. So, you know, if there's supposed to be a regulation on foreign beers, they're not going to shut down Anheuser-Busch because domestic. Now, there is the argument that, well, they're, you know, just these big, giant globalist conglomerations, but nonetheless, domestic, foreign, two completely different things, but the NSA and the FBI, they're conflating the two and saying, well, it's just incidental collection, but since we have the data anyway, we'll go ahead and look at it. And as Reason points out, all of this happens without a warrant, with the oversight of the secretive FISA court. After Edward Snowden helped Americans understand the full extent to which our communications and metadata were being collected by the federal government, there's been a concerted effort by civil rights groups and lawmakers with strong support for the Fourth Amendment to restrain the feds. The USA Liberty Act does modestly restrict the feds and requires that they seek court orders to view the communications when looking for evidence of a crime, but it doesn't do much about the actual collection of the data, and there's enough exceptions to worry that little will actually change.
And that to me is the core issue. So if the biggest problem I have isn't with them using this in a court of law to prosecute a case. My biggest problem is the fact that they get it in the first place.
Right.
And but there's a big difference there, because a lot of people will support we have to stop terrorists from attacking us on our own shores. Therefore, if we have these tools that we can use, maybe it's okay if we collect all this data, but we only pull it out when we think there's a real threat or when we have to prosecute a case. But that misses the entire point of liberty. Liberty should mean that you are free from a government that is collecting all data about you in the first place.
Right, and then there's the argument that by collecting so much data, you're then looking for a needle in a haystack. So shouldn't we only collect the data that we really, really know that we need?
Well, I would argue that the needle in the haystack is as our computing power increases and as we get into the world of quantum computing, all that kind of goes out the window because we will be able to see, let me rephrase that, they will be able to see all sorts of things and all sorts of patterns that we can't even imagine right now, which makes it even scarier.
So is it the government's fault or is it like your cell phone provider's fault if they willingly hand it over to the government? Like, is it not your cell phone provider?
The government should never have asked for it in the first place.
Okay, but do you think that
in a lot of cases, it's not an ask, it's a demand.
Right. Or it's a threat.
Okay, so do you think that...
Let's just use an example of AT&T, just to answer your question.
Okay.
AT&T has billions and billions.
AT&T, an alphabet agency like the FBI, CIA.
No. We'll say that they're a privately held corporation. They're publicly traded. But they've got billions and billions and billions of dollars in government contracts. I know that because I used to work on AT&T circuits when I was in the military.
Okay.
So they get billions of dollars from this. And... what do you think? Do you think it's really in their best interest to say, nah, we resist this?
No, but
we resist this program.
Can't people just choose not to do business with AT&T?
You can. But you can do that all day long, but that doesn't change the fact that, for example, there was one room in one skyscraper in San Francisco where 99% of the U.S. internet traffic flowed through. Now, did you know you were using AT&T?
I don't know. I don't care.
But that's the thing is you probably didn't know, or you don't know where AT&T, for example, has interconnect circuits, long, big pipes that go from one area to another. So when we use the internet, we're using thousands of different providers, depending on what we're doing.
Right.
It goes from... my router at home to another router that
I know,
maybe...
and that's where I kind of feel like, in a way, it's naive to think anything we do on the internet is private.
That is completely naive. The only point I think Darryl and I are trying to make is that it is completely wrong for our government to be doing what it's doing.
Right. So hold on. Let me give a comparison.
Yeah.
Is it ethical for me to come over to your house and dig through your trash?
Depends who you ask.
I'm asking you.
There's people
Heather,
out there.
the person sitting like 6 feet away from me. Is it ethical for me, Darryl, to come dig through Heather's trash?
I mean, I don't know if I would say it was either ethical or unethical. I'd say it was weird, and I'd probably ask you why you're digging through my trash.
That's all right. Let's say he wants to find out who you've been.
Answer.
Hold on. But the trash is on the side of the highway where a raccoon could go knock the trash can over.
In my trash, and you want them, it's yours.
Okay. Can I give an example then?
Yeah.
Is it okay for me to remotely hack your router and intercept all of your communications from your home, including your voice calls?
Yeah. I mean...
is that ethical? I'm not saying is it right or wrong. Is it ethical for me to do that to you?
I would say to not give me, at least notice or something. Let me know.
No notice.
Your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are two Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
When I get to about 3/4, when I get down to the bottom, a couple more scoops, it's time to place my order. Dinovite.com.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite for your dog this week.
We'll send you a bottle of Super Mega Fish Oil free.
Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Free this week at Dinovite.com.
If it's working, don't quit. DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees, no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up, too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days, free at buysellmakeoffer.com.
From Betty Davis's first role as a piece of chocolate cake in the 1931 film Palmy Days to the discovery of Niagara Falls in 1996, The Onion looks back at this week in history. On May 16, 1929, the first Academy Awards were handed out in categories such as Greatest Achievement in Blackface, Best Catholic Whipping Scene, and Most Gorgeous Gams on a Broad. The highlight of the night occurred when Wings won the award for Best Picture without a single Dago, Tar Baby, or Wetback. And on May 15, 1940, the first McDonald's opened in San Bernardino, California, back when a young Grimace was just working as a cashier. And that was what happened this week in history. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, history is actually pretty racist.
This is the Onion News Network.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back into the topic of ethics, spying, etc., but let's talk nutritional supplements for a minute. Over 60% of Americans take a nutritional supplement, and for good reason. Nutrient depletion of our soil, coupled with dependence on processed foods, has left most people deficient in essential nutrients. But where do you start? If you go to a naturopath, you'll likely be told that a cheap vitamin and mineral supplement just won't cut it. You also need probiotics, enzymes, antioxidants, and other nutrients. By the time it's all said and done, you're buying 5 bottles of product, spending $150 a month. If this is a situation that you've experienced, you need to know about Whole Food Multi-Complete. For 15 years, Whole Food Multi-Complete has been quietly providing what the big guys want: the perfect blend of supplements in a single product. They've taken the expense and complexity out of following a complete supplement program. Visit simplifymysupplements.com to learn more. That's simplifymysupplements.com. Enter code FTL to save 10% off your order every time you order, and satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. And they take Bitcoin. Now, what you need to do is click the Pay with Bitcoin up at the top, and then it takes you to the sort of feedback screen of sorts where you send them a message telling them which items you want to order, and just somewhere in that message put P.S. use coupon code FTL. simplifymysupplements.com. So the question, is it ethical for me to dig through your trash? And Chris had a sort of follow-up question, and I'll go ahead and say, the sort of train of thought that I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
If it's unethical for me to dig through your trash, and Heather, it sounded like you weren't really sure whether it was ethical for me to dig through your trash or not.
No, it's not that. Like, when you think of ethics and a moral set of principles, like the type of principles that I live my life by is, you could sum up in the golden rule, right? Like, do unto others as you would have do unto me.
So can I dig through your trash?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Can I dig through your
There's
trash?
nothing stopping you from digging through my trash.
Okay. My question was, can I hack into your internet router and monitor all your communications?
You could, yeah.
And
if you have the ability, the means, and the ways.
Would that be ethical? That
would it be
my
ethical?
question.
I would ask you why you did it.
And my answer is I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to do it.
And then I'd be like, you're effing weird.
Unless you ask Chris to hack into your
It's
stuff.
not stopping you, though. Like, whether or not it's ethical, it's not going to stop whether or not you do it.
Right, but again, let me continue the train of thought here.
I'm the one with the principles, apparently.
We're questioning that.
If it's unethical for me, and Chris, I think you're going to say it's unethical for me to dig through your trash,
Yes,
even if
absolutely.
your trash is sitting on the side of the road.
Yeah, I would have an issue with it.
If a police officer dug through your trash, well, they don't have a warrant, so therefore anything that they find is not going to be admissible in a court of law.
Fruit of the poison tree.
But what the NSA is doing here, because, well, we're incidentally finding stuff. We just happen to have had a bunch of raccoons that knocked over trash cans, and then because it was no longer in the trash can or bag, we could then look to see what it was.
Right, and we did that across. We hired enough raccoons to cover 310 million people in the U.S.
And then because it was incidental collection, it's then admissible in court.
Right.
But if I can't come over and just kick over your trash can, oh, well, it's now just, laying there and dig through it, then, the courts and the cops can't do it either.
So a core tenet of liberty, and this has been around since our founding fathers were kicking around these ideas of how do we protect the people from the government. The idea that if it's illegal for me to do, then it should never be legal for the government to do. Does that make sense? That's a pretty straightforward consensus. If I can't walk up to you, if it's not legal for me to walk up to you, Heather, with a gun and say, give me all your money, then it shouldn't be legal for a government agent to walk up to you with a gun, point it at you, and say, give me all your money.
But I mean, they don't really do that.
Well,
yeah, they say give me like 40%,
exactly.
And they take it before you ever actually see it.
Right. But
I think that's such a leap, though, to be like, when people make the comment like, government robs you at gunpoint. Like,
the threat of do you disagree that they have a monopoly on violence?
There's millions of people in this country that don't pay taxes and get away with it because they probably practice the same principles they preach, and therefore nobody's... they're not burning bridges. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's
but if they wind up, getting caught, then, there's a prison cell on the other end.
You want to talk about freedom, right? We're free to make choices. We weigh the risks. We weigh the benefits of our choices. Freedom is not freedom from consequence.
Okay, Heather, here's your choices. I will give you that you have the freedom to choose.
Okay.
I'm going to put you in jail for the rest of your life, or I'm going to shoot you. Which one do you choose? You're free to choose.
Yeah, I'll choose jail if it's over death, dude.
Is that a real choice?
What?
Is that a great choice?
Well, if it came down to it, it's the smarter one.
I do the same thing. I don't disagree.
Okay, and I'm not in that situation right now, though, because I've made other choices that have led me to not be in that situation. Right. And if there's ever a situation where I'm in that's unfortunate and some, monster wants to come and put a gun to my head and do ill will, well, then, you know what? Like, I'll go down with the fight. I mean, what do you want me to say? I'm not going to sit here, though, and let fear dictate my decisions moving forward or make some, unrealistic statement like, oh, paying taxes means someone's putting a gun to your head and forcing you to pay it. No, like, I don't agree with everything taxes pay for, but I also don't mind paying them for things like schools and roads and all these other things.
And killing babies.
No, I did not say I support killing babies.
Wait, that's what your tax dollars, do you get a choice of where those taxes go?
That's, you know what? Some things that taxes go for, I approve of. So I'll just assume mine go to those.
That seems wishful thinking.
Yeah, well,
but we're getting away from the topic.
I'll speak out
As will
publicly
I.
against the things I don't agree with them funding.
Oh, agreed.
But that doesn't mean that I think all taxation is theft and that every time I pay for it, someone's putting a gun to my head.
Let's get back to the point we were talking about, was whether it is ethical, moral. You can look at this a million different ways. For the government to do things that it's illegal for the average citizen to do. Is that right?
No, it's not. It's hypocritical.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
Let's go to the phones, actually to Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, that'd be the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I didn't mention Pennsylvania at all. I said Skype, and Ricky, go ahead with your thoughts.
The Skype of Pennsylvania.
That's right. And, I got some serious concerns. Now, hopefully you got my topic up there, Darryl, and maybe while I'm talking, you could possibly pull up that when their Pennsylvania House Bill 1400. And hopefully you can kind of grab that real quick. See, I got some serious concerns, and this will, I think, definitely be of interest to you also there, Brother Chris. Are you familiar with that bill?
I'm pulling it up right now.
So, real quick, what's the bill about? Because there are, possibly tens of thousands of people that are listening to this, driving around all over the country. They don't have the internet to be able to pull stuff up.
Background checks for firearms for gun shows?
Oh, God, it's so worse than that. Now, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of interest in Ricky from the Commonwealth, and I'll be sending my photos very soon, including my new toy.
Nice.
It's gonna take a while. Well, my favorite toys to carry are sawed off in a 45 single action, personally. My personal choice. See, here's the problem with this.
Sawed off? You can't carry a sawed off?
I sure do.
Oh. Do you have a federal? Oh, never mind. We're not going to get into it. Please continue with your thoughts.
Title 18, Section 507, brother. It's the only part. Not much of a state code I like, but that I can live with.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Sure. That's another problem. I'm a deputy of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I don't require a carry permit.
True.
Ricky, I have a question. What happened to that lady you were talking about last time you called in? The one that you said that was under your control and got away?
No. That I can't talk about right at the
Why?
moment.
Where is she? Did you find her?
I had Sister Heather. I love you, but do me one favor.
What's that?
I don't want her listening to you talking like that.
Why? Does she listen to the show?
No, but others may be to talk to her.
So, Ricky, real quick, do you have one of those chainsaw
Can we
bayonets?
hold Ricky over, please?
Do you have a chainsaw bayonet, Ricky?
No, but can you hold me over because it's important?
It is.
I don't know. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Please be interesting.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now at
855-510-BACK.
for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain.
Call 855-510-BACK to see if laser spine surgery is right for you. That's 855-510-BACK.
What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, November 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,281 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,411. Antiwar.com reports officials say that hundreds of additional U.S. troops are to be deployed to Afghanistan early next year, and then, when that deployment is finished, the U.S. may have roughly 16,000 troops in the nation, a substantial escalation since President Trump announced a buildup in August. Exact figures are tough to come by, of course. It is believed that the U.S. has sent about 3,800 troops to Afghanistan since the announced buildup, but Trump's interest in keeping troop levels secret has meant specifics are not released to the media, something that has always been the case in the war's first 15 years. Even then, though, the official figures were often lies, as President Trump announced the escalation at a time when the Pentagon said there were about 8,448 troops in Afghanistan, but officials later admitted that they thought the real figure was closer to 11 or 12,000. At this point, it's not wholly certain even the Pentagon keeps track of exact figures. The new hundreds more troops are being described by officials as trainers, though it's not clear that's what they're actually doing, as officially almost all U.S. troops deployed overseas are referred to as training forces on advisory missions.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports the U.S. Senate's Commerce Committee sought answers from Equifax and Yahoo executives on Wednesday over the company's massive data breaches earlier this year. Those interviewed by the committee included interim Equifax CEO Paulino de Rogo-Barros Jr., former Equifax chief Richard Smith, and former Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer. They answered questions about the Equifax breach in September and Yahoo's in March. Other witnesses included Verizon Chief Privacy Officer Karen Zachariah and Entrust Data Card President Todd Wilkinson. Equifax revealed that hackers had gained access to sensitive information of 143 million U.S. consumers. 6 months earlier, Yahoo was targeted for the second time in 4 years in an attack that compromised more than 3 billion email accounts. Barros apologized, and Meyer blamed Russian influence for the cyber attacks against Yahoo. Lawmakers said rigorous security rules are needed to counter the hacks and that companies need extreme limits to protect customer privacy. Barros mentioned that Equifax is working on an application that would let consumers lock and unlock personal credit data. He said the app is in development and may be released in January.
For over 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Democrats claimed historic gains in Virginia State House and booted Republicans from state and local office across the United States on Tuesday in the party's first big wave of victory since Republican Donald Trump won the White House a year ago. From coast to coast, Democratic victories showed grassroots resistance to Trump, rallying the party's base, while independent and conservative voters appeared frustrated with the unpopular Republican leadership in Washington. Democrats won this year's race for governor in both Virginia and New Jersey, but successes in legislative and local races nationwide may have revealed more about where the party stands a year into Trump's administration. With several races still officially too close to call, Democrats were close to flipping or splitting control of the Virginia House of Delegates, erasing a 2-1 Republican majority. In New Jersey, a Democratic presidential stronghold, voters replaced a 2-term Republican governor with a Democrat and increased the party's majorities in the state legislature. Democrats notched additional wins in a Washington state special election Senate race, and in Republican-controlled Georgia, Democrats picked up 3 seats in special state legislative elections. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The couple told reporters this week that they routinely urge their son Patrick to devote all of his time and resources to his improv comedy education.
We keep telling Patrick again and again that if you don't buckle down and start learning basic concepts like yes and the Herald now, nobody is going to take you seriously later in life.
He has to start thinking about this now.
The parents explained that he should try to get as much out of his improv training as possible by attending improv jams, forming a few indie teams, and doing as much bar prov as possible to keep himself warm for those upcoming Herald auditions.
The fact is, if Patrick were on stage with his fellow improvisers, and one of them were to play, say, a supervillain who's afraid of mice, Patrick wouldn't even be able to identify the game in that scene, let alone respond in a supportive way.
I gotta say, I had this internship at a law firm, but I quit to do a character workshop and a musical elective. I think this is really gonna pay off for me in the long run.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And let's go back to Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in. Still not entirely positive what the thing you were talking about prior to that top of the hour news, to where you mentioned some Pennsylvania House bill, and then you mentioned sawed off something, and continue with your thought.
Well, I don't have an itchy trigger finger, Darryl, so please, I hope you don't tonight, because it's important. I'm going to give a summary real quick, but I will say to you there, Chris, for next week, check into Title 18, Section 505 through 507 of the PA Code. That's the state code. Pay special attention to 507. And to you, Miss Heather, I will fulfill your request of something pretty important and big next week. Now, on to this summary.
So can you give me that number again? Title 18, Pennsylvania. Title 18.
Title 18, Section 505 through 507 of the PA State Code.
Thank you.
And my request, you were going to, wait, what request are you referring to, just for the record?
I'm going to fulfill your request and talk a little bit about what you were talking about before I hushed you up, sweetheart. Next
about the deputization.
No, about his lady friend that was under his control.
Not quite, okay? It ain't like that quite. Now, back
well,
to
that's
this
why I just wanted clarification of what it was like. Like, I mean, what kind of a relationship was this that you two had?
Sweetheart, Daryl's going to dump me soon. And
he's not going to dump you. Daryl's not going to hit the button.
As long as Heather's talking.
He held you over per my request. So.
Only because after I've told you numerous times, don't ask on the air for me to hold over boring callers.
Okay, well, I want to know more from Ricky about this situation, okay, that he had expressed on the air before, and who this lady is, and where is she now, Ricky?
I don't want to answer that. That's not a good idea, sweetheart.
Do you know where she is?
Yeah, I kind of do.
You kind of do?
Is she currently incarcerated, or is she in a completely different jurisdiction?
Or upstairs?
Is she in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
Yes.
She is. Is she?
Hold on. You just got asked like 4 different questions, and you answered yes.
Yeah,
Good
yes
one.
to which one?
Can I please move on, please?
Yeah,
go.
One more question. Is she incarcerated?
No.
All right. Continue with your
Is
thought.
she safe?
Is she bigger than a bread box?
She's not like a prisoner of any sort, right? She's not being
Jesus Christ, sweetheart, I love you, but you don't understand.
I don't understand. That's why I'm asking questions, Ricky.
I still love Chris's question. Is she bigger than a bread box?
All right, go on with your thoughts.
You guys are nuts. You're not a little bit curious about this?
No. Can I just hold on, Ricky? We're going to let you keep talking, but I like to savor a Ricky call. I don't want all of it all at once. I want a few nuggets. I like this to continue the conversation. So, Ricky, what'd you call about?
Okay, and please explain it to her later, okay, Chris?
I'll do my best.
I would love for you to explain it to me, Chris, like where this poor woman is. And,
let the man talk. I don't think I'd ever say that before about a Ricky call, but let the man talk.
Please, go ahead.
Oh, God. Thank you, Darryl. I love you. Now, see, here's the problem with this bill. Here's a summary. Now, our laws here have been the same way for a long time now. It would be Representative Jamie Santora of District 163. That's Delaware County. Now, here's how it is. And he's a sponsor of this. He's a Republican. Now, here's how this bill go. And here are my issues. I think they're going to be pretty apparent now. First of all, universal background check. But it's much worse than that. It's much worse than that because then on top of that.
What's worse than universal?
Oh, I'm getting there, brother.
Intergalactic?
No, what I think he's saying is there's more to the bill than just saying it's about background checks. Is that accurate, Ricky?
Right. It's more than a universal background check. That's number one. Also, this is going to include, this include my sawed-off. Now, not that I got to worry about it, but my fellow Pennsylvanians do. Barrels longer than 15 inches is going to include those. In fact, it's going to include every form of firearm. Now, this is worse than that because what's going to happen is, except in the case of family members, okay, the family because they're worried about the wills, okay, but private sales are also out. Okay, then on top of this, even more so, they are given a gift, the sponsor giving a gift. For gun shows, we'll give you a background check that's good for 72 hours. Isn't that nice of him? Even worse than that. Now, every single transaction of every single firearm, and it gets even worse than what I'm about to say, needs to be done by a federally licensed holder, firearms holder. So
hold on. Let me see if I'm understanding this right. This sounds very similar to something that they tried in Washington that I think wound up failing, to where it was written so broadly to where if, let's say, Ricky, you and I go to the gun range and I say, hey, can I fire a couple rounds off of that gun that you have? That's technically a transfer of a firearm, and we would have to go to an FFL for me to borrow your gun to shoot off like 3 rounds.
That could be a problem, too. And it's even worse than that because, see, here's the thing. Now, Jamie Santora is a pimple on the ass of the world, number one. He's not a main player much of anything, Now, that being said, and he's a Republican. Now, he starts off when he go to the press, he says, we're not trying to take your Second Amendment rights away.
Right.
But you know what? No. You heard about me talk about the Second Amendment. No, he's trying to blow Section 21 all to hell.
Right.
I was down to the State House today, in fact, on this.
Well, good for you. Yeah, I'd say that Pennsylvania's got a pretty decent group of folks who will fight this type of legislation. And it sounds horrendous, Ricky.
Yeah, the FOAC is really good. That's the Firearm Owners Against Crime. Really good organization for supporting gun rights in Pennsylvania.
And I tell you, one of the greatest guys, and Ricky, you probably know of him, is Joshua Prince, Prince Law Firm down there in PA.
Yeah.
But a really good attorney who, if he smells a lawsuit against, if anything like this happens to pass, he'll be the first to be filing lawsuits. So good. I appreciate you keeping up the fight down there. I mean, it's a state-by-state battle. People have the right to defend themselves.
And now I'm seeing here, Ricky, that this thing was referred to a committee back in May. Has there been any kind of action on it since then?
I was just down today. It's still up for the vote. It hadn't come up yet. See, here's another problem. I got another problem. Senator Pat Toomey, he's a real piece of garbage. He snuck in over McGinty, just squeaked in. You got 5 years of this piece of crap.
Agreed.
He sponsored the first bill that got shot down in the Senate back in, what was it? I think it was like 13. See, the Republicans are trying to take our guns away. Big surprise. Big surprise. I'm not surprised. I'm a Democratic Republican. I'm not surprised one damn bit. Look at what's sitting in the White House, a jackass. Oh, by the way, he just said something today that's quite fascinating, in fact.
Hey, Ricky, I've got a question for you real quick. Will you take a call from a caller? Will you take a question from a caller?
Certainly.
All right, so we've got someone calling in anonymously from Virginia. Anonymous, go ahead with your question for Ricky.
This is Jim. Hey, Ricky, we've been listening to you. You really got the right idea. We're looking up to you. We were hoping to meet up with you to get some ideas of how we might be getting some more freedom. We're actually in Maryland. Is it possible that we could hook up with you? Or are you near the Maryland line?
No, I'm actually northeastern Pennsylvania there, brother. But you know what? If you want to hook up with me,
what county are you in? What county are you in, sir?
I can give permission to Darryl.
I'm not relaying contact info between callers. Ricky, Jim, thank you both for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash at dash.org and help build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org.
Fireplaces and wood stoves are wonderful to have and provide low-cost heating, but they've got their drawbacks too. One of them is the increased likelihood that your home will burn. My primary advice is to never let fire into your home and to make sure that you have an extinguisher on every floor and the garage, and that everyone knows how to use it. But if you love your wood stove, don't want to give it up, make sure that you keep things away from it and have a professional clean it every year. The pro will make sure the chimney is properly functioning also. Make sure to dispose of your ashes outside too. I got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the
problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Then consider joining Dash. Dash is digital cash. It's a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast, it is easy, it can be private, the fees are low, and transactions are fast, or in some cases can be confirmed instantly. You can pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime for just pennies. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping run the network. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash, so go right now to dash.org and find out why. Coming up, Chris, you've got a story about the Equifax CEO that, you may recall that Equifax was in the news recently because of some big giant hack, and then they wound up getting a no-bid IRS contract that was quickly rescinded because the IRS had some bad publicity from that. So there's an update from Equifax. The CEO has said something somewhat outrageous. But first, let's go to the phones. We've got Shane calling in from Colorado. Shane, you're on Free Talk Live. Turn down the radio. Turn down the radio. You listen to us through the phone. Otherwise, you're going to be about 10 seconds behind us.
Is that better?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just wondering about the volunteers' view, or specifically you guys' volunteers' view on net neutrality, and how everyone thinks that the solution is to call in to your congressman or beg the government or some part of it, whether it's the FCC or Congress, to keep what I believe was for telephone companies to provide equal access to everyone on their network, which is now expanded to the internet, and the companies want the government to relax those regulations so that they can censor what they don't like and charge companies making a lot of money more money. So what do you guys think is the solution to that? Is there going to be internet providers that pop up that promise to maintain privacy and equality? Or
so real quick, Chris, I think you're probably the most knowledgeable about net neutrality here. And Shane, I'm going to have to turn you down here because we're getting feedback. Turn that radio completely off until we hang up with you.
Yep.
Now, the problem here is that, there's government regulation, and the two solutions are, do we pass this regulation or do we pass this other regulation?
Right.
That freedom is not an option in this whole net neutrality debate.
Right. So let's go from the carrier's point of view, the phone company or the cable company or whatever. Let's say I operate a cable company and I've got a whole bunch of subscribers.
Yep.
And they all pay me the same amount because I advertise my rates, and that's what it is.
Yep.
But some of them, a certain percentage of them, do nothing but just sit and watch YouTube videos, and they stream video, and they use like 100 times more data, 1,000 times more data than these other folks that don't use much at all. So should I can do things a couple different ways. I could actually try to charge those companies that are producing the high bandwidth content a little bit of money so that they come into all my subscribers the same. Or I could try to do like low-level tiers, a little bit of data. But everybody pretty much wants unlimited, right? They don't want to be throttled in any way. So,
and
it's
it seems the way that some of the companies are, they're not necessarily throttling, but they offer. Do you want 10 megabyte down? Do you want 100 megabyte down?
Right, or the total amount in a month. Some can do that too. So sometimes when you talk about net neutrality, it's taking away the business's ability to come up with innovative plans and to maybe make more money in innovative ways. I'm not saying I endorse that. I'm just describing that from big businesses' point of view and small cable business, because there's a lot of really small internet providers still in the country.
Right.
You're kind of not making it competitive. You have to play by the government's rules. And in business, we shouldn't have to play by the government's rules. We should be able to play by the market's rules.
Right. And in a lot of parts of the country, you have one cable provider.
Right.
You might have, if you're lucky, you have a couple of ISPs that you can choose from.
Right.
If you're lucky.
But those monopolies are put in place by government. I'm sorry.
Right.
Go ahead, Heather.
My question's a little off topic, so I'll let you guys
No
continue
problem.
this and wait until the call.
So that's the first thing. Government dictates how many people can compete in the market, and through net neutrality, from one way of looking at it, it limits the ways that those companies can even sell their services. So from the other side of it, you have the consumer's point of view that says, no, all people are entitled to unlimited internet, access to anything they want, and it should be illegal for cable companies to charge some companies more and some companies less to provide access to their web services.
Now, do you think,
or their internet services?
Chris,
Go ahead.
do you think government regulations on stuff like this actually fosters more innovation because it leads people to think of alternatives?
No.
Did you think about a government's regulation on currency, right? Isn't that kind of what made people think outside the box in terms of developing cryptocurrency? And so would regulation not be almost like a prerequisite to innovation?
No, government is a boot on the neck of the life of business.
But it's more like an obstacle, right? So like when
why
you think
do you need an obstacle to innovate?
I'm saying obstacles are always there, right? Even in football, right? There's rules to the game, right? But because there's rules, you can still win if you think your way around them. So obstacles are like regulations.
So let me be clear on this. I in no way see a benefit of businesses. Let me rephrase that. A free market never benefits from government involvement.
But free market winners
don't
lose with obstacles, right? They just see them as challenges.
That's a free market. When we talk about the marketplace we actually have, there are a lot of businesses that benefit tremendously.
And Heather, since you made a sports analogy, I'll throw another sports analogy at you. Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, is fast running in a straight line. He's not fast running and jumping over hurdles. So to claim that somehow, throwing obstacles in front of people causes them to do better and innovate faster is just completely absurd.
I mean, not everybody can handle a curveball.
Right. Well, and Usain Bolt has never raced me. I want to be clear on that.
But maybe
I've also never seen you and Usain Bolt in the same place at the same time.
He would also realize that he's the fastest hurdler. Okay?
He doesn't
How
run
do we
the
know,
hurdles.
though, if you don't try?
Because he
right?
doesn't run the
And by
hurdles
throwing
because
those
that's not his
obstacles-
specialty.
But maybe he could do it, and maybe he'd love it.
Heather, are you advocating for more government involvement in the
I
thought
watched a
that it
video.
will make...
No, I watched a video. Jason Silva, he actually has a Netflix documentary, Brain Games, right? And one of his posts recently was the idea that regulations and rules create innovation.
Shane, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What do you think? Do obstacles cause people to run faster and jump higher?
That's not what I said.
This is Free Talk Live. It's exactly what you said.
Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But did you know you can have tax-free access to your life insurance while you're still alive? You can use the life benefits of your life insurance to grow your money with certainty and guarantees. No stock market risk, no tax risk, and no penalties. Call Life Benefits if you'd like a free book about how this can be done. Call 702-660-7000. That's 702-660-7000.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me about my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And if you like the show and you want to help get the show on more radio stations, then join the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. And there are perks, so it's not just you throwing $5 at us every month. There are perks, like the AMP-only podcast that has no commercials in it. There's the AMP member Facebook group. There's an AMP section to the Shire forums. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some of the other things. But you can go to amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. And then that $5 per month minimum gets reinvested, helping us advertise, market, and promote the show to program directors of radio stations across the country, and even some in Canada that we've been calling and advertising with, trying to get the show on more stations. We're on about 170 right now. We could be on 300. But again, we need your help. amp.freetalklive.com. And we will get to this Equifax story, but I feel that there's more to dig into with this whole net neutrality thing. And I'm reminded of what's referred to as OneDrive Gate. And now I'm going to go with the caveat of I absolutely hate when people just throw the word gate onto any kind of scandal. And then, it's this gate, that gate, OneDrive Gate, driveway gate.
They're going to call this show Darryl Gate.
No.
Darryl Gates?
No, that's somebody totally different. That's like Bill Gates' third cousin, I think.
Oh,
but OneDrive was a product from Microsoft.
Is a product.
Okay, I didn't realize it was still a thing.
Yep.
But they rolled this thing out, and a while back they said, we're going to give people unlimited storage on Microsoft OneDrive.
Sign me up.
And then people wound up, some people would only post a couple of files on there. I'll just put a couple of files on my OneDrive, and then other people were using terabytes of storage. And then Microsoft said, when we said unlimited, we didn't actually mean unlimited, so we're setting a cap now. And anything over, you've got a certain number of days that you can download your stuff, and anything over the, I think it was 1 terabyte, anything over that, we're just going to randomly delete stuff until you get below this threshold that we set, even though we told you unlimited. And that's kind of what this whole net neutrality thing is, to where, and again, the people that are in favor of net neutrality say that passing it is going to be the greatest thing ever, and the people opposed to net neutrality say that keeping it from passing will be the greatest thing ever.
Well, to be clear, what most people who support, I'm going to paint with a broad brush here.
Most people, what we generally do.
Most people that favor, quote, net neutrality believe that how it will work is that no one will have the ability to limit your access to anything on the internet, that any website should be accessible from anyone, anywhere, and that level of freedom is something that must be protected. And if you were to say it that way, I kind of agree with that. But when it also says every business involved in the internet can never make a business call regarding the consumption of X amount of megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes of data from a particular website, can never try to
a particular type of data.
Right. Data versus, video versus, text and things like that.
Is it net neutrality kind of like, I don't know. I imagine that would be like the Bernie Sanders of the internet. It would be like everyone can have it.
Yeah, in a sense, it is sort of a socialist idea.
All content is created equal sort of thing.
Yeah. But again, every time I don't want to say every time. Yeah, I'm going to go with every time. Every time the government gets involved to try to fix a problem, generally for all the right reasons, it tends to make it worse. And I just think that regulation in any form in young industries is not a good thing. And the internet, a lot of people here grew up with it. They've had it since they were born. I'm a little bit older, and this to me it's still relatively young.
Right,
and
I'm
really
part of
only
that generation to where I grew up a good bit of my life without the internet.
Right.
And then the last 20 years I've
to be you,
had.
Darryl.
No, I still remember when I was in high school and they connected the computers to what the librarian referred to as, quote unquote, this thing called the internet.
Right. Now I know why I feel like I'm talking to two dinosaurs over here.
Jeez, yeah, I know.
And I remember, trying to figure it out to do some research. Screw this. I know how the card catalog works.
Right. But then again, I also had an email address in 1982. So, it's sort of a give and take. But again, we're not talking about something that's been around for hundreds of years or 50 years. We're talking about something that is still changing and evolving, and we don't know what is going to come down the pike yet. And if I have to err on the side of anything, I'm going to err on the side of free market. I'm not going to err on the side of government trying to get it exactly right, which is going to help everything.
Right.
Because that usually never works.
To some extent, the way I think some of the pro-net neutrality people have tried to paint the anti-net neutrality of, well, if we don't pass this, then you'll have to pay an extra $5 to visit YouTube or this or that or some other weird sort of thing. Let's look at cable subscriptions
now, let me ask
for a minute, to where I remember being told at one point that cable companies cannot, if you say, I only want these 2 sports channels from your sports package of 20 channels,
right?
They can't sell you just those 2.
Because that's not allowed under FCC laws. That would tilt things. Now, I think, like what I've always wanted with cable or satellite TV has been, just show me all your channels. I'll take a pencil and put a check mark beside all the ones I actually watch. Mm-hmm. And then just charge me like $1 a channel.
But
so if my bill needs to be $22,
you don't want the freedom to have all of those channels, because that's what you're getting.
No, you can certainly do that too. But again, when the government comes up with a law that says no, you cannot offer these sorts of a la carte choices, you have to provide a basic package that includes crap that you don't want.
That's freedom, though. You are free to watch any of that crap.
No. That's government involvement, and that's the antithesis of freedom.
If I only want to get the USA Network, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, and CBS, I'm not allowed to buy those 5 channels.
Right.
As a cable subscription, I'm not allowed to do that because government regulation.
But hold on, Darryl. I think the silver package would work best for you. It has all those except for one. But if you want all of them, then you could go to the gold package. You end up paying $20 more a month.
Yeah, I want 5 channels so that I can watch pro wrestling and football.
The point being is these are decisions made by bureaucrats in the Federal Communications Commission who are lobbied nonstop, unelected bureaucrats that are lobbied nonstop by the cable industry. But Darryl can't just pick the channels he wants to watch. He has to buy a package. How is that freedom?
He can buy individual shows. Episodes?
No.
Netflix?
No. He's forbidden by law from doing that.
Yeah, I could.
Yes, he can spend more money.
Netflix, but Netflix doesn't allow me to watch the SEC Game of the Week.
Right. And Netflix doesn't have Fox News, which I know Darryl watches every day.
It doesn't have the USA Network, and no, I don't watch Fox News.
You could lobby
the channels that I want: USA, CBS, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3. That's 5 channels. I want those 5 channels for pro wrestling and football. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown. But these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The Crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the Crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the Crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the Crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the Crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
This just in. Before your doctor gives you another antibiotic prescription that you don't want, get this free report, The Miracle of Garlic, your first home medicine. This free report is filled with easy kitchen remedies for common colds, flus, sore throats, ear infections, and more. Plus, learn to boost your immunity before you get sick. Go now to gcnwellness.com. Just like it sounds, gcnwellness.com to get your free report, The Miracle of Garlic. Click gcnwellness.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Heather.
And Chris.
And have you ever wanted to start your own website or blog, but you've not been able to put that idea into action? Well, you're in luck, because HostGator, one of the top hosting companies out there, is offering a special deal to Free Talk Live listeners. Go to hostgator.com/FTL and you can get up to 50% off their regular prices. Hosting your own website or blog can be intimidating, but HostGator makes it easy. HostGator offers a simple, one-click, easy installation for WordPress, and they have 24-hour, 7-day per week over-the-phone or live chat tech support, and a very intuitive and user-friendly control panel that puts the power of creation and the simplicity of use into the hands of you, the customer. HostGator has a 99.99% uptime rating, so you don't have to worry about outages. To get that special offer of up to 50% off for Free Talk Live listeners, visit HostGator.com/FTL. Chris, Heather, have we beaten the net neutrality horse to death?
Well, I just have one final thought. And during the break, we brought up a book that I brought up numerous times. The book is The Master Switch, The Rise and Fall of Information Empires by Tim Wu. And this thing's getting a little bit dated. This came out in 2011, I believe. But still a great book and a great read. And basically the tendency goes like this. Innovation, some new product is created. And let's just use the example of the radio. Mm-hmm. And the initial people that get involved in it are individuals. They are people that are intrigued by this brand new technology, mm-hmm. and they start to do all sorts of wild and crazy things. And we talk about cryptocurrency a lot on this show. It's sort of that. It's these guys working in their basements, coming up with new and better solutions to all these problems. And then what happens is there's this consolidation that starts to happen. Companies see all the money that's being made, and they're like, ooh, we got to get a piece of that, so let's get us involved in that. And when they get involved, their first tendency is to run to the government. And what the government does is comes out and says, you're right, this thing's growing, it's booming, it's exploding out of control, like they're saying today about cryptocurrencies, and like they said 10 years ago about the internet, or 15 years ago about the internet. We've got to get our arms around this before it gets any bigger. So government steps in, and government starts making rules and regulations, which leads to what? Monopolization. It reduces, it unevens the playing field from this point early on when everybody could be involved in the technology till only the wealthiest people and the biggest, most powerful companies could be involved.
But even the biggest, most powerful companies are still going to want you can be wealthy, but be dumb as a doorknob, you know? Like, if you're rich and your kids inherit your money, it doesn't mean they're going to be smart, right? So you're still going to have the smartest people of every, what do you call it?
Not
every field coming
it doesn't
to these
matter.
Companies. They're going to want to, if
a lot
these
of them
companies
will.
are smart, they're going to filter out the cream of the crop, even in poor communities.
Right. So you tell me exactly how somebody could have in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 1970s come up with a cordless phone or an answering machine.
What do you mean? Well, when was it invented? I don't know how that stuff works.
Well, you couldn't. You were forbidden by law from coming up with things that connected to the AT&T monopolized network.
Like, they don't keep drugs off the streets, so they can't keep people from innovating.
You're the one arguing on the side of monopoly, big government, and a lack of innovation.
Laws don't work to keep drugs off the streets, so why would laws work at keeping innovation from happening?
Because it's illegal. People were not allowed to manufacture and sell.
You can't.
You could just say, Heather, you have a point.
Yeah, if you did, I would.
But
you don't.
It's the same concept. You argued to me the other day
sure.
that laws like against cheating or whatever, like, oh, well, laws against drugs don't keep them off the streets. So
correct.
When laws,
right, but they keep them out of the corner news store.
Laws against innovation
keep them
being
out of the marketplace.
They don't work, though. Laws don't work, remember?
No, and even then, you had people that would do it, but then you also had technology. See, there was no other phone system to hook up to.
Either laws work or they don't.
Okay. That's a nonsensical question.
No, it's not, because you argued against me the other day that laws don't work. So if that's
no,
the
I
case,
didn't argue. I asked you.
He said laws that regulate morality don't work. That's different than laws that... Yes, it is.
Well, he said laws don't keep drugs off the streets, right? I'll agree
Correct.
with that. And therefore, laws also don't keep people that are innovators and leading...
I will agree. The words written down on paper do not prevent someone from doing something.
Correct.
But the police officers, the various bureaucrats,
the threats,
the regulators
the fines, the regulation.
that would go And if Radio Shack existed in 1930, I don't know if they did. Maybe they did.
Probably did.
But if they had an answering machine or one of these other devices that was prohibited from being connected to the AT&T network, can guarantee you that the regulators would go in and say, well, the only way anybody can use this is to connect it to the AT&T network, so therefore it's illegal for you to sell. These are all ours now.
Can you break this down in a way I'm going to understand it? You're talking so fast. And I can't even process what you're saying, Darryl. It's just
the bottom line is that government regulations, when that comes apart in this flow of
regulations
innovation,
work to stifle things.
Stifles innovation. Regulation stifles innovation.
Yep.
That's a fact. And then it also stifles competition in favor of the biggest players in the marketplace.
But the war on drugs begs to differ, though, right? Because it doesn't really stifle competition, right? The regulation on drugs actually drives people to buy off the black market. So it would actually drive up competition in a weird way, wouldn't it?
So I can go to any corner store and buy marijuana?
Nope.
Not yet, no.
It's extremely limited in the marketplace. As a matter of fact, it's so limited I have to go down dark alleys.
It just changes the marketplace. It doesn't necessarily make it non-existent. It just changes it from one marketplace to another.
So it's the role of government to change marketplaces in the ways
that... So that's just a consequence of the regulation.
Exactly. And I don't like that consequence. I think people should be free to buy and sell what they wish. And if there's a market for that, more power to them.
Right. And if CBS, which is a very big, and has been for a long time, very big player in the broadcasting game. If they know, we're prohibited from selling this device that allows people to wind up listening to all of our radio stations or something, they're not going to manufacture that device. If Texas Instrument knows we are not going to be allowed to sell an answering machine that connects to the AT&T network, and all of the phones connect to the AT&T network, they're not going to manufacture that device.
Right.
Now, Chris, in his basement, might wind up manufacturing a device that he uses for his own personal use, but he's not going to be allowed to sell that openly.
Yeah,
because there was a regulation against it for a long time.
So we talked about the silly example of hooking up an answering machine to the AT&T network, which was illegal. Couldn't do that. Yet the technology of the answering machine existed in the 1910s, 1920s. You had Dictaphone, who was a big company in dictation. In recording, they had that capability. And you had the telephone system. And guys back then were putting together the basic idea of an answering machine. And there were some prototypes built, but AT&T never saw that it would be a big seller, so they never introduced it to the market.
And then they asked for regulations to prohibit it because they couldn't make money.
At that point, they were making the decisions.
These people that invent these things, that these life-changing things, run to government. Then
no, they don't.
That's what you said earlier. You said something like, the people that come up with this stuff, the first thing they do is they go to the government, and then
the people that invent it traditionally don't. So take a Tim Berners-Lee, who's pretty recognized as being one of the founders of the World Wide Web, one of the creators of the World Wide Web. His immediate tendency wasn't to run to government and ask for regulation. His tendency was to say, okay, let's get some working groups of people who are interested in this together so we can start to lay out some frameworks and do that. And let's try to keep this as open and free as possible. That's the message of Tim Wu's The Master Switch. They try to do that, but once the big corporations and big companies and big monies get involved, that's when innovation gets seriously squashed. Monopolies or duopolies, because the big companies can afford to price out their competition.
But the person who invented it gets to choose, right? He's the brains behind it, though.
That has not been it through history. They usually end up getting bought out, sued out, or have their ideas flat out stolen. Read the book. You'll like it.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Hour 3 on the way. What are your thoughts on government regulations?
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. and I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, November 9th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.06 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,281 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 2.6 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,411. Antiwar.com reports officials say that hundreds of additional U.S. troops are to be deployed to Afghanistan early next year, and then, when that deployment is finished, the U.S. may have roughly 16,000 troops in the nation, a substantial escalation since President Trump announced a buildup in August. Exact figures are tough to come by, of course. It is believed that the U.S. has sent about 3,800 troops to Afghanistan since the announced buildup, but Trump's interest in keeping troop levels secret has meant specifics are not released to the media, something that has always been the case in the war's first 15 years. Even then, though, the official figures were often lies, as President Trump announced the escalation at a time when the Pentagon said there were about 8,448 troops in Afghanistan, but officials later admitted that they thought the real figure was closer to 11 or 12,000. At this point, it's not wholly certain even the Pentagon keeps track of exact figures. The new hundreds more troops are being described by officials as trainers, though it's not clear that's what they're actually doing, as officially almost all U.S. troops deployed overseas are referred to as training forces on advisory missions.
Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
UPI reports the U.S. Senate's Commerce Committee sought answers from Equifax and Yahoo executives on Wednesday over the company's massive data breaches earlier this year. Those interviewed by the committee included interim Equifax CEO Paulino de Rogo-Barros Jr., former Equifax chief Richard Smith, and former Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer. They answered questions about the Equifax breach in September and Yahoo's in March. Other witnesses included Verizon Chief Privacy Officer Karen Zachariah and SunTrust Data Card president Todd Wilkinson. Equifax revealed that hackers had gained access to sensitive information of 143 million U.S. consumers. 6 months earlier, Yahoo was targeted for the second time in 4 years in an attack that compromised more than 3 billion email accounts. Barros apologized and Meyer blamed Russian influence for the cyber attacks against Yahoo. Lawmakers said rigorous security rules are needed to counter the hacks and that companies need extreme limits to protect customer privacy. Barros mentioned that Equifax is working on an application that would let consumers lock and unlock personal credit data. He said the app is in development and may be released in January.
For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports Democrats claimed historic gains in Virginia State House and booted Republicans from state and local office across the United States on Tuesday in the party's first big wave of victory since Republican Donald Trump won the White House a year ago. From coast to coast, Democratic victories showed grassroots resistance to Trump rallying the party's base, while independent and conservative voters appeared frustrated with the unpopular Republican leadership in Washington. Democrats won this year's race for governor in both Virginia and New Jersey, but successes in legislative and local races nationwide may have revealed more about where the party stands a year into Trump's administration. With several races still officially too close to call, Democrats were close to flipping or splitting control of the Virginia House of Delegates, erasing a 2-to-1 Republican majority. In New Jersey, a Democratic presidential stronghold, voters replaced a 2-term Republican governor with a Democrat and increased the party's majorities in the state legislature. Democrats notched additional wins in a Washington state special election Senate race, and in Republican-controlled Georgia, Democrats picked up 3 seats in special state legislative elections. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Terror and confusion fell upon the nation this week after nearly 314 million Americans reported inexplicably losing consciousness for 8 hours straight last night, with countless victims helplessly recovering from the fugue-like state with no memory whatsoever of the lost time. Researchers at Princeton University, who have been studying the alarming phenomenon since its inception, told reporters that though they were unable to ascertain the source of the sweeping condition, it appeared to be somehow linked to the setting of the sun.
Right now, we suspect that there may be some connection between these sudden blackouts and the visions that some Americans have reported experiencing while they were unconscious. But most of these hallucinations are too abstract for us to draw any definite conclusions from.
At this time, we urge people to never turn off their lights and under no circumstances close their eyes for any extended period of... Oh, God. It's happening again.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in and join us as we kick off our number 3. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Heather,
and Chris.
And first, let's go to Skype. And I promise we will get to this Equifax story where the CEO has some absolutely ridiculous things that he has said. Let's go to Skype, where we've got Bad Slave calling in from, I believe, somewhere in New Hampshire. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I am in New Hampshire. And Heather and Chris and Darryl, thank you for taking my call.
No worries.
Listen, Heather, specifically, do you ever hear the broken window fallacy?
No. I'd love to hear it, though, if you want to share it.
Well, it's pretty simple. With the Keynesians out there, do you know what a Keynesian is?
I do not.
Kruger and, bad economics.
Krugman. So Keynesianism is this theory of economics. There's different schools of economics.
Yep.
The Keynesians tend to believe that a planned economy is very is favorable. It can be done.
Planned economy is best economy.
Planned, very much so, and that central banks are key. They need to be able to manipulate interest rates and things like that. The more libertarian school in all this is probably the Austrian school, which says it's
which
best
is very close to Chicago as well.
Yeah, the Chicagoans like monetarism, so they like to play around with their central banks more than the Austrians. The Austrians would prefer that there just be no central bank whatsoever. But there's these different schools of thought. So the broken window fallacy was put forth by, I would say, an early sort of a proto-Austrian economist and philosopher, Frederick Bastiat.
Yeah.
So you want to go ahead and describe it there for us, Bad Slave?
Yeah, sure. It's just basically the economic fallacy is that that a broken window produces something by having to repair the window. In other words, so the guy that repairs windows gets a job and does something, and so
gets work.
So it's work, and what it's what the fallacy is that there's the seen and the unseen. The unseen is that somebody had to spend money on something that they didn't choose to.
Right. So let's put this in practical
What do you mean
terms.
somebody didn't?
Well, it's okay. My car's out front, right? Darryl goes out and he throws a rock through it and he goes, "Yay, I helped the economy." I'm like, "Darryl, you broke my window. How did you help the economy?" Well, you got to think about those guys with, Safe Light Auto Glass. They now are going to get a gig out of this. They're going to come out and spend, and they're going to have a job and they're going to pay their employees. And with that window that was just sitting there unbroken, nothing was happening in the economy. What it fails to take into consideration is my answer to Darryl, which was, "Oh, that's great, Darryl. Now I have to take the $100 that I was going to invest in cryptocurrencies and spend it to repair my window."
Or that you were going to go buy groceries with,
right,
or do any number of other things.
Right.
Okay, so what's the solution to the problem?
Well, the solution is that the idea that destruction creates economic positive effects, and the same is often applied to war. That's a beneficial
and natural
thing.
disasters.
Right, and natural disasters. They talk about the big boom that's going to come after all the hurricanes. After you wiped out
destruction do happen. Hurricanes do happen.
They
and
do.
These things
Right,
cause
but they
us to
don't
seek out solutions to problems.
From an economic
those
point of
things
view,
don't stimulate the economy, because after Chris winds
I'm
up
not talking about
spending,
economics. I'm talking about innovation.
but when Chris winds up spending that $100 to replace the window, he's out $100 and is no better off than he was beforehand.
Correct.
Okay, and what can he do to prepare for the future for a situation like this? Maybe get insurance, so then next time you only have to...
Oh, the broken window fallacy isn't really about innovation. It's about economics.
Okay.
Well, but I'm saying that, in fact, that regulation is a broken window.
Okay.
And
I understand that.
Yep.
That's debatable.
No, it's not. There is the hidden cost of everything that, whether it's the broken window, Darryl's broken or Chris's broken
car window.
See, you know what? The way I look at regulation, right? It's almost like, we're giving ourselves like victim mentality. Like, oh no, this person put a regulation. Like, we're not going to be able to do this anymore.
This is unnecessary stuff, Heather.
Right.
Businesses build in. I've heard somewhere between 10 to 20% of cost is built to regulatory compliance.
The reality is that there are regulations, and we as individuals are in control of our own lives, right? Even with these regulations, we decide how we go about them, whether we abide by them, whether we go around them, whether we run to change these regulations. I mean, this is what we're faced with.
You have no problem with the fact that some people are going to get fined and have their money taken away from them because of regulation.
I'm just being a realist.
I don't dispute that your reality is reality. What I dispute is whether or not it's a good idea. You seem to love it. I loathe it. So when you talk about regulation is a broken window because it takes money that could be going towards innovation, could be going towards other jobs, and it churns it through a Washington machine or a Concord, New Hampshire machine or whatever machine. It sucks money out to pay for all the regulators, pay for all the bureaucrats. That money doesn't stimulate anybody except it gives them an excuse to take more money and to do more regulation.
I mean, I see both sides of the story. I do see the argument where I think regulations do lead to innovations to get around the regulations, and then I do see
you heard
the
it
idea
here first, folks.
where no, I do.
So, yeah, some people will try to find loopholes around innovations, and then generally those loopholes wind up being closed.
Okay, like cryptocurrency, perfect example, right? All these high taxes, people are like, oh, we want to trade something, we don't want to be taxed on it, we don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. Poof, Bitcoin. People thought of Bitcoin. Someone probably had an idea like, how could I create like a digital currency that we didn't have to, that was decentralized, and people had this thought. But this thought might not have come to exist were it not for the regulations.
Heather,
what?
No.
Yes, it's
The regulation gets out of the way, and the black hole for resources that the government disappears, and other things can be done with those resources. Better things.
Yeah, you can have regulations in the private market for crying out loud.
There's a whole bunch of reasons for cryptocurrency.
You go to private schools.
Hold on, let him finish.
There's a whole lot of reasons for cryptocurrency without regulation sitting in the way. That's sitting in the way. It's a barrier.
Obstacle.
No, the term that is often used is regulatory burden, and even the government uses this term. Yes. The burden of regulation. When they pass laws, they actually discuss what will the burden be. Why would you want to burden things?
If somebody wants to burden me, challenge accepted.
No.
Yes.
No. Let's not accept the challenge.
No, I'm just.
There's where the big fallacy is.
Why? So you want me to sit here and just cry and be like, that's not fair?
No.
You're happy to go forward and accept all this, and everybody else is. So those of us that have a different idea are left in the lurch,
But regulations aren't just limited to government. They're in private companies. They're in families. Did your mom never have like a bedtime or things like this? Like regulations aren't just government.
Apples and oranges.
You can get a job working for a company. Heck, there's regulations of me being on this radio show. Like we're not allowed to say certain words. Ian doesn't want anybody drinking while we host the show. I mean, there's regulations.
Hold on, Bad Slave. I'm going to hold you over so that you can answer some of the absolute ludicrousness that was coming out of Heather.
Yeah,
your calls and
people's
thoughts
views.
Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What do you think about regulations? Are they a welcome burden?
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Fireplaces and wood stoves are wonderful to have and provide low-cost heating, but they've got their drawbacks too. One of them is the increased likelihood that your home will burn. My primary advice is to never let fire into your home and to make sure that you have an extinguisher on every floor and the garage, and that everyone knows how to use it. But if you love your wood stove, don't want to give it up, make sure that you keep things away from it and have a professional clean it every year. The pro will make sure the chimney is properly functioning also. Make sure to dispose of your ashes outside too. I got got my Blink home security system delivered right to my door. I downloaded the app and it walked me right through the easy setup. Even with my complicated router system, I was done in like 10 minutes. Now it notifies me whenever something moves in front of the wireless cameras, or I can just check it whenever I want right from my phone. And I got you a deal. Get 3 Blink cams for what the other guys charge you for 1, plus an extra 10% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Earlier this year, after many years of conflict over the direction of Bitcoin, the creators of Bitcoin Cash did just what they were told to do. They forked off. Now there are 2 Bitcoins, the one that is run by the big bank patsies, and Bitcoin Cash, the one that stays true to the creator's vision. Bitcoin Cash has surprised many with its relevancy and staying power, and the price reflects it. If you believe that Bitcoin was meant to be a low-cost, easy-to-use, peer-to-peer currency that could bring economic freedom to the world, you need Bitcoin Cash. Get your Bitcoin Cash wallet right now at bitcoin.com.
Negotiation isn't just something union leaders and sports agents do. Your entire day is a series of negotiations. If you have young children, you know that. In fact, your kids can teach you a lot about negotiating with grown-ups. According to the world's greatest negotiator, Herb Cohen, author of You Can Negotiate Anything. Herb says that kids understand the process of decision-making within an organization. When one parent says no, they'll ask the other. And Cohen says children persist and persevere. And like smart negotiators of all ages, kids know that no is an opening bargaining position. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're a job seeker. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's the Two Men and a Statist edition with Darryl, Heather, and Chris.
You know what? If you're hating, you're stating, okay? So you guys are the statists, not me.
We'll get back to the phones here in just a moment. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a way that you can save money on your online purchases. You can do that when you go to saveatpurse.com. That's saveatpurse.com. Save 5% instantly, 10, 15, 20, 25%, up to 33% off of those things that you were going to buy from Amazon anyway, presumably. Now, what you need to do is you put things in an Amazon wish list. You then import that wish list to saveatpurse.com, and then you fund the account with Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Somebody then winds up buying the crypto at a markup. You get the items, they get Bitcoin, and everybody is happy. Saveatpurse.com. That's saveatpurse.com. Let's go back to Skype, where we've got Bad Slave calling in. And now, Bad Slave, Heather had asked you a question. I don't remember what it was, but I did want to give you time to respond. So go ahead.
Yeah, what were you asking, Heather?
Honestly, I don't even remember at this point because these two kept going on during the break or whatever. But
I was shouting.
No, it's just like I'm not trying to troll. They kept asking me during the break. They're like, Heather, are you serious? Like, is this what you think? And I'm like, look, I honestly, like, when it comes to regulation, I watched a video the other day that got me thinking. And you know what, Darryl, you can call me a derogatory term like status, and imply that somehow you're intellectually superior to me because you have a different view. I don't actually think that makes you principled. I think it makes you less principled that you're going to resort to calling me things like status
Heather,
just because I'm sharing
a
different. It doesn't matter. It's not a joke because I'm not joking. And some of these are like, I watched a video the other day that got me thinking from another viewpoint. And let me ask you this. What did you think 10 years ago? What did you think 5 years ago? Chris, you mentioned you were a Republican. Why are you both so sure that you're at the bottom of the rabbit hole now with this whole anarchist stuff and that government's the enemy? Why are you so certain that you got the world all figured out and that if I offer any criticism to any of you guys' ideas, suddenly I'm just a statist and I don't know anything? Like, can you hear me out for 1 second?
Yeah, I'm waiting to reply.
All right, we'll go for it.
Because I've been an absolute statist, not in a derogatory term, but I've been a nationalist, I've been a statist, I've been a Republican, I have been a Keynesian, I have looked at things through different eyes than I have today. Over the last many, many, many years of my life, I've seen what has worked and what has failed. And during that time, I read a lot, I study, and what I can say is the ideas of liberty and the ideas of a truly free market, in my experience, not in my feelings, but in my experience, when I've seen them in action, work better. They're morally superior to the ideas of statism and nationalism and all these other things.
Where do you get your morals from to say that certain things are from God?
Yeah, when I think of morals, I think of basically the golden rule. I think of property rights, that what belongs to me, including my own body.
The golden rule is do unto others as you would have do unto you.
Yep, I have no issue with that either.
Okay.
And I'm very comfortable in stating that I can reconcile my Christian beliefs with my views on government, on regulation, on free markets, on self-ownership and things like that, because they're compatible. They complement each other. That's why
actually self-ownership, according to Christianity, is like your body belongs to God.
True,
technically.
But I am responsible for what happens to that body as long as it's on earth.
Our goal is to protect our bodies as if it belonged to God, and that we're supposed to glorify it and therefore treat ourselves, as a valued commodity.
Right.
Getting back to regulation.
Yes, Bad Slave, go ahead.
Go ahead.
The idea that to me, what you're spouting, and I don't say that derogatorily. What you're saying, Heather, is a progressive view. The progressive view is that government is the solution for problems.
I didn't say it was the solution. I said regulation can lead to innovation.
You could say it's beneficial.
But you're saying that there's some benefit, and I say no. The benefit is supplied when the regulation goes away. The idea that we need barriers. People
not necessarily barriers, but maybe guidance. A little bit of guidance isn't a bad thing.
It's not guidance. What regulation ends up being is the bigger companies are less burdened by it.
Have you ever used the GPS?
No.
Have you ever used the GPS? That's GPS regulation, right? It's regulating your route.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. If you want freedom, shut your GPS off and figure it out yourself. That's freedom.
It's a system
that gives you a guiding point. You can do detours, right? You can navigate your way around things.
I will point out that GPS is a government system.
It doesn't get in my way.
But regulation, I'm saying when you
right.
It creates harm. Do you understand harm?
Wait, how does it create harm?
Well, because there's cost involved, like the broken window.
But not
every regulation. Darryl just said regulatory burden. there's a cost to it. They try to calculate that stuff, and they don't do it well.
The cost isn't. Oh my God.
The cost isn't important?
No, it's not the cost. You're looking at it from like one perspective.
The perspective that counts is the perspective of the entrepreneur.
I'm the guy that wants to innovate a new product.
Okay.
I don't want.
Okay, but you're thinking regulation.
I don't want some third party interfering with me doing that.
Okay, you're thinking
unless I'm creating harm.
So if regulation is bad and you're consistent in that, then regulation in any way, shape, or form is bad, or is it only when the government regulates something?
You can have voluntary regulation.
But that's still regulation, is it not?
No, we regulate each of ourselves.
Isn't it due onto others what you would have due onto you? So if you can have voluntarily regulate, like if regulation is bad or it's not.
No, I'm going to hop in here and say that you want to use the word regulation for any rule, and there's a difference.
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. Yes. Regulation is something that, in the context that we're using it, let's agree on that, it is rules that are implied or forced upon someone else by a third party. So, for example, I happen to sell jams, jellies, and maple syrup in my store in Keene, New Hampshire.
Okay.
And the regulations of the city of Keene say that because I sell jams and jellies, if I were in the next city over, it wouldn't matter. But because I'm located in Keene, I am a restaurant, and I have to follow all the restaurant regulations. Now, minimally, that costs me $200 a year in a restaurant license. That's a regulatory burden. That's a hard cost that I have to pay because of regulation.
Bad Slave, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts, welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What's the cost of regulatory burden?
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live.
I'm a supporter of law enforcement, and my boyfriend's a police officer.
What if there was a law passed that made cigarettes illegal? Would you also support your boyfriend going and raiding people's homes and businesses because they had some black market cigarettes?
Enforce laws if people are smoking cigarettes and they're not supposed to be?
Yeah.
Would he enforce them?
Yes.
Yes, he would.
Right, that's the problem.
It's
his job.
Can I go to a more extreme example then, Lindsay? What if it was like Nazi Germany in 1939 and Jews were illegal? Would your boyfriend go around and grab them and throw them into concentration camps because it was the law?
If it was his job, he would do it.
God.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's not a personal issue. If it's his job.
It is personal.
Doing something wrong is doing something wrong whether you've got the law on your side or not, ma'am.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list.
Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you like the show, and you listen as one of the podcast listeners, and we know that there are a bunch of them. Yes, there are people that listen live on the radio. We are on about 170 radio stations, coast to coast. Not all of them live, some delay broadcast, but we do have both radio listeners and podcast listeners. If you are one of those podcast listeners, please take a moment to head over to the iTunes store or to Stitcher or any of the other different podcast aggregating sites. Leave a rating, leave a review. It winds up helping other people find the show, because the way algorithms work, the more ratings, the more reviews we have, then the higher up in the ratings that we show when people search for various talk shows. So please, do us that favor. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. Let's head back to the phones. We've got Tom calling in from Baltimore. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I just had to call in defense of Heather. Heather, you know, I really have come to admire your strength as a young woman. You remind me, I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember the typical photographs during World War II. The one that comes to mind is Rosie the Riveter.
Right.
These were images of strong women at work. A lot of times they had their sleeves rolled up. These were classy ladies, but they also didn't mind getting a little dirty in their work efforts. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I mean they were hardworking women, but they were also classy. It was a positive image of women being strong. And Heather, you really remind me so much of that type of image. Don't let these guys harass you at all. I don't think I need to tell you that.
Oh, no.
By the way, I think what you said about marriage was excellent. Any father would be so proud to have a daughter speak like you do. Don't ever change.
Thank you so much.
That attitude and your class will net you a husband one day, if that's what you're looking for, who will respect you. And I know from listening to you that you would accept nothing less than respect.
Yeah.
And so you stick to your guns.
Oh,
By
thank
the
you
way,
so much.
regulation is something inherent in everything we do. Heather is right. You guys are absolutely wrong.
Oh, I don't disagree that it's part of our daily life. I disagree whether it's beneficial and whether it should be removed or encouraged.
Let me school you boys. There's something called positive regulation and negative regulation.
Mm-hmm.
It has good instincts. I mean, our genes are regulated and they're regulated in a particular way. Our bodies are regulated relative to the temperature. Getting outside of anatomy, our homes are regulated relative to temperature. Everything that we encounter and do is a balance between positive and negative regulation. And that applies to business, just like she was saying.
Can I ask a quick
If you want to
question?
have a completely unregulated business environment, then you would have monopolies. We know this from history.
Yeah, that's completely false. But let me ask you a question. Do we benefit from an
Are
FDA?
you saying that's completely false?
Yes. Do we benefit?
Well, you're absolutely wrong.
On this, we'll disagree, but that's okay. Do patients in the United States benefit from a level of regulation that presents such barriers to new drugs that it often takes 10, 15 years, if they're ever approved at all, while people could be saved by those drugs? So I'm not saying that.
Do patients in America not benefit from the fact that they can walk into any hospital here and get treatment? I mean, that's a regulation.
Nobody's answering my question.
You're looking at the negative regulation. There are negative effects to regulation, but there are also positive effects. And you're only looking at the negative effects and not acknowledging that some regulation can actually lead to positive effects.
What I did was I brought up one specific type of regulation, one specific example, and that's the one that I'd like to talk about. And you can please take it apart, but don't change the question.
We can work on individual, have discussions over, hey, this regulation has negative consequences. This one has positive consequences. But we need to look at individual regulations instead of blanket painting with the broad brush.
Pointed out an individual regulation.
I did.
I
was very
admit
specific.
that, like the one you talked earlier about, your restaurant, and I don't know if it was off the air or on the air, but your restaurant being, if you sell jams, now you have to be,
I'm a restaurant.
Right. Like, stuff like that, nonsense. And that's going to hurt companies, but there are also regulations out there that can actually lead to positive change.
How about regulations that benefit some companies but hurt others? Is that beneficial?
Negative regulations. What do you think your liberty ideals are? They're a set of regulations. It's what you go by. What do you think Christianity is all about? It's about whether or not you're going to be regulated by what the good Lord tells you is proper and correct, or whether or not you're going to be regulated or controlled at the tip of a bayonet. And we know this from our founders, who very aptly put it so, because it is so correct. You can live by a simple 10 Commandments, and Heather touched on this last week as well. And by the way, she was absolutely correct. I don't know why you make fun of her when she talks about criminality when it comes to adultery. That was the way of the land, and it had a good purpose, and she's absolutely correct. Listen, do you know how many assaults and murders took place because people were adulterous? Fidelity is an important concept, and she's correct.
Has it stopped it?
Wrong, and it's a boondoggle to society when people are engaged in infidelity.
Has it been effective?
I'm going to say yes.
It was until society went to hell, and she touched on that as well. She's very learned for a young lady.
My question
Heather, I'm going to leave you with this. Don't take any guff from these young men.
It's okay.
They're much more learned than they are. Have a good evening.
Young men.
Folks.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you very
my
much,
question
Tom.
has always been, did they actually work? Did they actually dissuade people from?
Who you ask. I mean,
there may be some empirical answer to that.
Just to be clear, nobody was condoning adultery on this show last week.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
We
were
all
saying
described
it should not be a.
Well, there was one
me
guy.
And you,
there was
Chris,
one
we
guy
were
in the
saying
Free
it should not
Talk
be criminal.
Amplifiers group that said he was foaming at the mouth after hearing my conversation. I'm like, only a cheater would foam at the mouth after hearing me talk about adultery like that. Like, you might not agree with me, but only literally, why are you going to foam at the mouth?
Because the question is whether another law on the books
married too,
provided a benefit to society. And if you look at and I don't have these numbers in front of me. I don't know if any of us does, but what are the percentage of people that are not cheating because there is a law against it?
Stefan from the Commonwealth of Skype. You're on Free Talk Live. Are you loading some kind of firearm there, or you just have a really loud mouse?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just doing some maintenance work while I was on hold. My bad.
Do you have one of those chainsaw bayonets on the end of any of your firearms?
Oh, trust me. The second I heard about that, I actually took a pruning chainsaw and attempted to attach a Picatinny rail to it.
Nice. Go ahead with your thoughts.
First things first. The Heather fan club is a real thing now.
Right. At least two people.
There's a page for it. There's a page for it.
Oh, really?
Nuh-uh.
You're gonna.
Yes.
Are you in the?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I sent it to Darryl and Heather both on Facebook. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. But I'd like to talk about some ballot initiatives that were voted on this week. There were two of them. One got absolutely walloped, and one passed overwhelmingly. I'd like to speak about the one that passed overwhelmingly. It was called Issue 1. It was called the Crime Victim Rights Initiative, and basically it, adopts something that's like a Marsy's Law. Are you familiar with that? What a Marsy's Law is?
Not entirely, and hopefully you will tell us. And your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Ballot initiatives passed in Ohio. Some failed. What are your thoughts? This is Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Google has all but banned the movie series What Would Muhammad Do? It's a brilliant film on the true history and goals of Islam. This is the film Trump's enemies and holdouts from the Obama administration are terrified you will see. Pro-Islamic groups working with Google and other multi-billion-dollar corporations have vowed to suppress the distribution of What Would Muhammad Do? When you see it, you'll understand why. Get your copy while you still can. Order the 4-DVD collection today for $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Or go online and download the entire movie series for just $19.95. But wait, for those who order in the next 30 minutes, we'll throw in a 9-part series on the Muslim Brotherhood absolutely free. Go to wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now. That's wwmdfilm.com or call 304-289-3700 now.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Not giving out the call-in line because, well, if you're not already on hold, we're not getting to you, and hopefully we're able to get to everybody that is on hold. Before we get back to Stefan, I want to make sure that I tell you about an excellent news source for all things crypto, news.bitcoin.com. Reported on the show last night that SegWit2x has been called off. Well, headline earlier today is there's a small company called BitPico that claims that SegWit2x is still alive despite all the evidence to the contrary. So they'll definitely be covering that. SegWit2x futures apparently still being traded on some exchange somewhere. Plus, there's news about one of the corrupt federal agents that was involved in the Ross Ulbricht trial being sentenced to 2 more years in prison for money laundering. Again, you can find those and more at news.bitcoin.com. Let's head back to Skype, where we've got Stefan calling in. Stefan, you're back on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
You were asking what a Marcy's Law is. Basically,
yes.
It's a law designed to protect the rights of a victim.
Right.
That's what they say. And basically, according to Ballotpedia, it says the purpose of the amendment was to provide victims with the right to privacy and to be treated with respect, fairness, and dignity. I don't know how the state determines that. The right to information when it comes to the proceedings. You're allowed to know everything about the proceedings. And this is what really makes me mad. The right to notice of the release of the accused. I think that very heavily violates privacy. And I think it's
hold on. Let me ask the question of how's that violate privacy when all of that is public information?
I don't think it should be. No, basically you can find it anyway, but this will make it so when the person is released, they will get directly notified, either, by email, maybe by a phone call, they'll be immediately informed, hey, by the way, this guy got released or this woman got released or whatever.
Okay. Now, I did a little bit of looking last week on this ballot initiative 1, and it doesn't seem as though what was being proposed is really all that different from the current law. So why was this thing proposed, and are there any major differences?
There's one major difference I noticed, and it gives the right to restitution.
That seems to be something that should have already been there.
I'm not entirely familiar with the definition of it. I had looked it up, and it seems to me it's payment or compensation.
Right. So if I come over and I steal your television and break your windows, then restitution would be not only giving you your television back and repairing your windows, but also giving you some kind of compensation for the time that you were without a television and a window.
Well, in that case, I'd say that that's definitely a civil issue.
It is more of a civil issue, but it's something that in property crimes is handled through the criminal proceedings, just because otherwise, sorry, Mr. Stefan, we did find this guy guilty of robbing you. Now you need to go spend $500 to file a civil lawsuit and hope that your attorney can outspend his attorney.
Well, I don't like the phrase, the right to restitution. I mean, how can that be considered a right? If I
rob you, then yes, you most definitely have a right to your belongings. And you have a right to be made whole.
Right.
So minus the state enforcing that, without the state, would I have the right to restitution?
This goes into the realms of the hypothetical libertarian society and how would it work?
Right, but it's fairly common throughout common law, and not just English common law, but most common laws that I'm aware of have some kind of restitution built into them.
Right.
How do you get restitution?
There are multiple ways that you could get restitution.
A lawsuit, maybe.
Well, let's just say. Well, let's just say that. We gave the hypothetical earlier of I busted Chris's rear window on his car.
Mm-hmm.
He sees that I did it, and he apprehends me or something. All right, hey Darryl, you need to make this right. Pay for the busted window, and then I either work out the way it should go and the way it actually does go. Not necessarily the same, but the way it should go is I either say, hey man, I don't have the $100 to pay the Safe Light guy, but I can come do some work for you.
Right.
I can work it off.
Right.
But that's not necessarily an option in the way the state handles things.
So then what if Darryl takes off and decides not to come work it off?
Well, let me use another example. Let's say
can we just finish this one?
No, I'm going to talk about the exact same case, but we're going to move this back 700 years to medieval England.
Why? Let's talk about today how libertarian society would function.
I'm going 700 years back. So in this village, Darryl the Great breaks my window of my little hovel that I live in, and everybody sees him do it, but we don't have a sheriff. We're just out in the countryside. It's a village, but there's really no formal government set up. Everybody just kind of lives there.
Okay.
We all have the king. We know where the king's at.
Yeah.
But common law comes into play because everybody's like, Darryl, that was a stupid, nasty thing to do to Chris. He did not deserve that. You need to make it right. Now, Darryl has two choices. He can either make it right or he cannot make it right.
That's assuming Darryl threw the rock in front of everybody.
He did. In this example,
in
he
this
did.
Scenario, there were witnesses.
There were witnesses, so nobody doubts that Darryl did it. But Darryl knows that if he doesn't make it right, then nobody's going to buy his grain from him. They're going to ostracize him. They're going to make his life not pleasant. So it's in Darryl's best interest. Now, we didn't need a law. That's just common law coming into play.
Let's take this Kevin Spacey stuff, right? Kevin Spacey's accused of all these horrible sex crimes and stuff right now, but there's people out there that don't believe him. So how does common law handle that? That, like, when you have half the people believing someone did something and the other half believing they didn't, how does common law handle that?
Common law doesn't handle everything in the world. Common law is the basis for most systems of law that we have.
So if nobody sees somebody break into my house to steal my TV, or nobody sees the windows being broken out, how do the police know that they broke a window? How do they know that it wasn't just some kid?
They may come and find evidence, or even I could do that.
But if there's no evidence, then you're not going to find who did it, and then you will never wind up getting restitution. But if they find the person, then you should get restitution.
But let's say that I go outside my broken window and I see a women's heeled footprint. And I realize that, well, that's strange. Heather was wearing boots like that the other day.
Heather stole my TV, didn't she?
Exactly. Well, maybe I could, I'll snap a picture of it and then I'll compare that to the print, and maybe I can come up with that. And now I've come up with evidence. I didn't need to go to the police for.
Then the question is, does a jury wind up believing the circumstantial evidence or not? And that there's a maximum, I believe it's from Jewish tradition, that if there's just circumstantial evidence and every member of the jury finds guilty, then the person goes free. Because there should be one person that's like, hey, wait a second, all of this is circumstantial, but if it's an 11-1, the person's guilty.
Interesting.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I got to research that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should too.
And I've not...
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, that's something that I've heard from people that I know that study Jewish legal systems.
Right.
And I've heard that multiple times. But, that's the way their common law system handles the thing when there are no witnesses.
And I kind of like the idea, and back to the original question of restitution, I like that better than punishment.
Right.
I like the idea that if someone is wronged, then they should be made whole, as opposed to you were wronged, so I'm going to put this person who, I'm going to take this
even
person
private arbitration and settling disputes is backed up by force, just so you know.
Again, we're talking about this Initiative 1 in Ohio, and just because it says you have the right to restitution doesn't mean it's you get restitution in lieu of this person that stole your $5 loaf of bread going to jail or whatever the punishment is. So it's restitution plus penalty, I'm guessing.
Right.
Stefan, thank you for the call.
Thanks, Stefan.
If we didn't get to you tonight, call in earlier tomorrow because we do this all 7 nights of the week, and we are always online at freetalklive.com.
It's been...
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news view.